Hello. So it's Memory, Friends Abroad Relationship School again, and I wanted to share some tips to help us all out in relationships. We put a lot of importance in our relationships, and it is essential that we enjoy our relationships. Help us all out. It matters a lot that we are fulfilled in our relationships. We have been doing relationships for a while, many of us, and what really matters, what is important, isn't just to be in a relationship or to try to be in a relationship. What matters the most is trying to make changes in those relationships, trying to improve how we are showing up. And as we get older, as we are getting older, we need to look back at our behaviors, how we have been behaving in relationships so far, and what is necessary to change as we continue to try and do relationship, or as we continue to do relationships. Because it matters a lot that we make changes. As Seneca says, if you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you are needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. Because what we tend to do, what we tend to try and do most of the time, is to find the next person, or to believe that we are being treated unfairly by a partner, which is understandable because it does happen. At the same time, we are also needing to be realistic about how we are doing these relationships. If you look back in the last year, last 6 months, try and find out what changes you have made in your relationships or in your love life. Because if you look back and you notice that you are still in the same place where you were before, you are still doing the same thing that you were doing last year, 6 months ago, a few years ago, you are still stuck in the same relationship patterns, then it's time for you to reflect on what needs to change, because something does need to change, and that something is going to be changed only by you, nobody else. So it does help you to look into ways that you can start to make a difference in your own life, because that difference is only made by you, nobody else. As we age, we need to look into and adopt healthy relationship strategies and discard approaches which have not been serving us. We know what we do, how we behave in these relationships, and it therefore matters that we start looking into ways we can do our relationships or approach our relationships differently, so that we get positive outcomes in our relationships. We need to discard dysfunctional approaches. We need to recognize as we get older that doing things the same way we have been doing things for years is not bringing us the desired results, whether you are in a relationship that's not healthy, or you are still trying to get into a relationship and you've got repeated patterns in trying to get into those relationships. It is important for you to look into what you can do differently in order for you to get different outcomes in your relationships. To recognize that you are also setting an example in your relationships, in your family. Because, like, for example, I am a grandmother, I am a mother, and what examples am I setting for my children, for my grandchildren? I can't go back and change what I did in the past. I have to forgive myself for that. But I can start to do things differently now that I am older, because at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to society to make changes and set a different example to people who are in my family, my friends, and my circle. Because I can't behave the same way that I was behaving 5 years ago, the way that I was behaving a year ago. There is really no quality of life in that kind of approach. And it doesn't help anybody if I stay stuck in that kind of approach, where I am still doing the same thing that I was doing ages ago. We need to recognize how our relationships impact our quality of life. Because at the end of the day, we do need to make changes. We do need to recognize that some ways of doing relationships do not guarantee or enable a quality of life. So this is my invitation to you today, to start to recognize how behavior or our behavior in relationship impacts the quality of our life. Because at the end of the day, our relationships really help our quality of life or determine our quality of life, because we are in our relationships every day, and more so our romantic relationships. So we need to start thinking differently and to look into these tools that we have learned over time and to utilize them in real life, in real time. Think differently for different outcomes. Adopt habits that shape life differently. Learn from our mistakes. Recognize at our age that there are behaviors that are no longer viable, that are no longer life-giving, and look into ways that we can make changes with those behaviors and do something or act in a way that can improve the quality of our relationship. As the Stoics say, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And you will find that whenever something happens, what shapes you, what shapes or determines the quality of your life is how you are reacting to that thing that happened. Because at the end of the day, we all are exposed to these varying behaviors and attitudes in our lives at some point, but not everyone is going to react the same. But most importantly, this is about you. Is the way you are reacting or acting helping you, helping with your peace of mind, helping with the quality of your life? This is what you are needing to think about. This is what you are needing to reflect on. This is what you are needing to explore and make changes on. Our reactions or the way we behave is shaped by our beliefs and our thoughts. So if you change how you think, if we change how we think, and how we behave also changes. We change how we view ourselves, we adjust how we view others and how we view our relationships and the world. And consequently, that will also bring about the changes in our behavior or the changes we need to make in our lives. We reveal character in the way we behave. And character is the key player in relationships. It's not some of the things we think about or that we notice at first when we meet someone. It's the character that is more important. And it's the character you live with when you live with somebody. Their behavior is what determines your relationship outcomes, and your behavior is what determines your relationship outcomes with your partner. So it's important that we make the changes on how we behave in our relationships. What we are needing to do is to adopt a system of living when we are in relationships. Whenever we approach something consciously, you approach a business consciously, you are going to find that you will probably do better when you approach it in a conscious way, because you will have a plan of action and you know who to involve and you know what is needed and you know what is not going to help. You do your risk assessments and you take your action from all those variables, because it's important that you approach your business in a conscious manner. Otherwise, you're going to waste time. Otherwise, you're going to waste money. And otherwise, you're going to feel like the world is not fair to you, but you haven't done it in a way that you are investing the right resources to get returns. You need to also recognize the importance of the dichotomy of control. The dichotomy of control is a life-giving strategy or way of living, because when you focus on things within your control, you are not going to be fighting with people in relationships to get what you want. You know what's yours and you know what's theirs, and you know where to influence and what to influence, and you know when to stop. This is the power of the dichotomy of control. Because unlike what we did in our 20s and our 30s and sometimes maybe in our 40s, for some of us, we learn that you need to let go of control and focus on the variables that are within your control, which are more life-giving. Do more what makes your heart sing, what gives life to you. This is what is mandatory and more important as we do relationships. And you need to make peace with choices of others, because as much as you might want to choose somebody or a certain person or certain things, you also need to recognize that if others are involved and they've got a choice or a decision in that process, then you need to recognize that their choice matters too. And if their choice is going to impact your choice in such a way that you have to make changes to who you are choosing or what you are choosing, then it's important that you accept that gracefully. And this is the part of maturity that we are needing to invest in and to embrace, that we need to allow others their choices and we need to let go gracefully. This is a very strong approach as we get older, to be graceful in our acceptance of other people's choices, to be graceful in our acceptance of rejection, to make peace with rejection, and to allow others to reject us. Because part of the difficulties that we have had over the years in our relationships lies with the difficulty we have with accepting that someone has rejected us. Because we want them to stay when they don't want to. We want them to stay when we are not giving them something to stay for. So we are also needing, therefore, to ask for honest feedback from some people around us about our behaviors. There are a few people who tell us the truth, about how we are behaving and how it's impacting our lives. And it's important that we keep those people around us so that they can give us honest feedback, and then we can make some changes. Because without honest feedback, we are not going to make changes. And without making changes, we are not going to grow. And without growing, we are going to be in perpetual victim mode, where we believe that the issue lies with somebody else instead of us. The thing is, the choices that you make, whether you are choosing a partner, whether you are choosing a behavior, or whether you are choosing an attitude or an action in relationship, rests entirely with you. And it is that choice that can impact your relationships. Let go of drama from old relationships. It's not cool. You know, we have done some things that are unbelievable in our younger years. And drama, you see, sometimes it looks like a behavior that you carry on, or you participate in, or you activate, which is not helpful. And drama can also look like doing something that makes someone activate a certain behavior that's unacceptable. Because drama, when we look at it, usually we think about drama as the person who is reactive. But you can also be reactive in a passive-aggressive manner, which triggers the other person who is aggressive to act out. And that is important in relationships, especially for people who don't communicate directly. And this is something to let go of as we get older, to learn to speak our truth, but in a very kind way, in a very authentic way. And when we speak our truth to the other person, we leave them the choice or decision to choose how they respond or react to our truth. The rest is not up to us, it's up to them. So it's important that when we are in relationships which we feel are no longer fit for purpose and we want to exit, we communicate. Whether we've been talking to someone for 2 days or 20 days or 20 years, it's important to be clear, to be authentic enough to express ourselves instead of fearing the other person, letting them know how we are feeling about things and leaving it up to them to decide whether that's okay for them, or if it's not, it's up to them. But we stand in our truth and we adhere to our truth and what we are wanting, as long as it's something authentic that's not harming anybody. We are not saying just do what you want. You are in a relationship, yes, but communicate authentically your truth. And yes, if you want to leave a relationship, you are well within your rights to leave a relationship rather than cause heartbreak and drama. There are no medals for chaos, and there is just distress and a poor quality of life. Because as we grow older, we need to strive for peace. We need to strive for a quality of life improvement in the way we live, to have more peace in our life than the constant chaos and unhappiness of drama, of being in a situation that's not serving us. It's not life-giving, and what we are needing to look into is the shortness of life. Seneca reminds us of the shortness of life. Our lives are short, and we've got enough life. He also says the life is long enough as long as we know how to live it. So we need to look into ways that we can live this life in a way that's fulfilled. We need to accept the space others make or create. And we also need to accept breakups as new beginnings, because at the end of the day, the relationship itself, how it shapes up and how long it lasts, might also be dependent on the behaviors in the relationship, on the dynamic itself. And imagine it's not a happy relationship anyway. Why should it not break up? Why are you fighting the breakup if the relationship was not happy anyway? And if they are not happy anyway, why should you fight the breakup? And if you are not happy anyway, why should you fight the breakup? So these are the things we need to think about, because at the end of the day, it's the quality of life that you have, not the number of years you live. So you are needing to think about how you are living this short life. And in the relationship you are in, or the relationships you are trying to build, or the relationships you are wanting to build, how are you living this life? That is very important. And stop blaming partners about all the problems or what goes wrong in these relationships. Yes, they've got their bit and you've got your bit. But rather than get stuck in blame, some people stay years and years. You notice someone was in a relationship that was not working out a year ago, 2 years ago, and they are still stuck on that person. That can't be right. You need to think about yourself, about your short life, and about what you want. You need to think about ways to move on or to move forward. This is why I said you need a system of living, to invest in yourself, to invest in your tools, to invest in self-soothing and self-regulation, to invest in your passions and things you can do in your life to enhance the quality of your life. Go to places, not places as in places like Zimbabwe or UK or America. I'm talking places in your life where you can go to do something that is helpful for you. Go to a place mentally and just sit with your inner child and process and enjoy, and sit with your writing and create. Sit with your drawing and draw. Sit with something and do, or sit in meditation and just revel in being. And go out there and find something, some sport, some activity, some interest, and do something with yourself. Learn to sit and breathe and just appreciate your breathing in and out. You are alive. You are here. That is more important than being with someone who doesn't value you, or someone who simply does not want to be with you. It's not a crime if someone chooses differently. They are just choosing differently. That is all. You can do the same, rather than get stuck on that one person who is not into you, who's not wanting to be with you, and who is focused on other areas of their life, and who doesn't think you are compatible. It's not a crime. Focus on learning from these experiences and from what you are accepting. Are you accepting things that don't serve you? Why? Then that's what you need to work on. This person doesn't want you. They don't value you. You have been going through these phases in your life. Why are you being reactive towards one person you met probably in your 50s? To sit and think, oh my God, I've been left by a partner who you met in your 50s. But even if you met them earlier than the 50s, it's time for them to move on. Let them go. Let them move on. Let them choose. They have their own choices to make. They've got their own decisions to make. You are not who they are looking for. Let them choose who they are looking for, even if it's not you. Give them your blessings. And this also helps you to get your own blessings, to look for someone else, to find someone else to do other things. Because you cannot force love. Love needs to be given freely. So give people their space to be who they are to you. Because when you give someone the space to be who they are, they will show you who they can be to you. And when they show you who they can be to you, that is your opportunity to then make a decision to act according to how they are behaving towards you, or who they are being towards you, not according to what you want. And this is key. This is about you taking appropriate action, because you can't be running towards someone who's running away. You are chasing someone who's trying to live their life. What right do you have to chase someone who is trying to choose how to live their life without you? You need to think about that. Don't fight breakups. Breakups are just a signal for you to start anew. So this is the lesson I've been needing to share with you today, for you to find ways to move forward, to start to change the way you do your relationships. Stop fighting with partners in a relationship. Learn to communicate. Stop trying to keep a partner on a leash, being clingy. Do something with your life. You are going to live the rest of your life with this person. Make space. Do some things on your own with your friends, and also help others. This is where I'm wrapping up. How do you achieve this? As I shared with you, love on 3 levels. The first level is about you, where you learn resources to regulate yourself. Without learning to regulate yourself, you cannot make adjustments in your life, because you are always going to be outwardly focused. But as you learn to regulate yourself, you are learning to sit with the discomfort of whatever is happening in your relationship, in your life. And in those moments, you learn to self-soothe, just like a parent would soothe a child in their care. And with self-soothing, it means you are going to manage your reactions. And you take deep breaths. You speak to yourself like a parent who speaks to a child they love. Just imagine a baby who's crying. What does a parent do for that baby? Do the same for yourself. Give yourself the love. Speak to yourself kindly. And ground yourself. And then, when you feel grounded, there's many tools to use to ground yourself. Breathe deeply, appreciate your breathing, affirmations, and gratitude. And the voo, just to ground yourself, repetitive sounds and touch. Then God said, distract yourself, create a journal, and do something with your time. And on the second level, you have done these things on the first level. Make a decision about who you reach out to talk to about your situation, about your story, about what you're struggling with. You need a circle. You need a village. Everyone needs a circle. A circle will help you to ground. A circle will support you. Find a healthy circle, not just a circle. Have people who have your best interests. Have people who hear you and see you and understand and accept you as you are. It's very important, whether you are a man or a woman, you need someone to talk things through with. And that is key. That is essential. So, you talk to your person, your people, and you also need a sense of purpose in your life. Find something else to focus on where you help other people. You are created in a world where we are all one, and one is all. And you need to not just think about yourself. You need to also focus on charitable acts. Use the 5 love languages to help others through physical gifts, through money, through acts of service, through touch, and through time and affirmations. It's important that you find an outlet for your purpose. You need to find an outlet for your passions and interests, an outlet for your social life, and an outlet for your purpose to give love to the greater good. Because we are all able to give something back to society. At times, the reason why we get stuck, we end up in a place where we are jogging on the spot of an unhealthy pattern is because we are too inwardly focused. It's all about me, 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 me. But in the moment that you struggle, remember, there are also other people struggling, and there are also other people who probably have worse struggles than yourselves. I'm not trying to dismiss your struggles. They are important to you. But this is also why you need to parent yourself and then go to your circle and also to your group. You also have people in your greater good who support you, groups where you get support, groups where someone says something that can be helpful for you. So people online, on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, with advice. They have given that advice to the greater good. So you also have those support systems to rely on, to tune into, in order to feel soothed or to get an idea of where to go from where you are. You are now on ground zero. The only way is up. If you decide to sink, then you are making that choice yourself. But you can also make the choice to go up and move forward. That is key. So help somebody out there as you get help from other people. It's an expression of gratitude for all the help that you get, for all the breath that you have. And also, it takes your time away, or your mind away from thinking about your issues all the time. So it is important that as we get older, we create a sense of purpose in our lives. As we get older, we create a sense of, I need to make changes. I need to grow up every single day. And if you are like me, you probably need to look back constantly and find out where you were maybe a few years ago, a year ago, or 6 months ago, and find ways to move forward instead of being stuck. Write it down. These are the behaviors I exhibited, or these were my behaviors in the last year or so, or 5 years or 10 years, and these are my behaviors now. And or this is my situation. I was in this relationship and we broke up, and I was really pining for this person. And 5 years later, I'm still pining for this person. Believe you me, you need to do something about that, because your life is moving forward. You are 5 years older now, and being 5 years older means you need to make some changes. Something needs to change. Something has to give. You can't stay stuck in that place alone. There has to be help out there to help you move forward. I hope I have propelled you to move one step forward in your life. Our relationships are crucial. Our relationships matter. And I'm inviting you to just think about how you're doing things. If you are younger, well done. Welcome to this life, because it's going to be helpful for you, because you are going to learn to grow, or grow as you learn, or learn and grow, because you are going to probably look at this or listen to this and think, where will I be in the next 5 years? Make sure you are making changes. Human beings have got the capacity to change. They've got the potential to change. It's just about tapping into our potential and making adjustments to how we think and how we behave. Believe you me, some of us were in some strange, interesting places a while ago. Not perfect, still make mistakes, but the difference with now is, in those mistakes, there is consciousness. When those mistakes are made, there's reflection and thinking about, what did I do and what can I do differently? Is there anywhere I can go about it in a different way? And another thing I forgot to mention is being stuck on a person. I think I did, maybe to a point, but as you get older, avoid being stuck on a person who you recognize as unhealthy to you. You need to move forward and recognize there's plenty of people in the world, and you will meet someone Because if they don't want you, they don't want you. So let go. You are in your 50s, in your 60s, or maybe in your 40s, or in your 70s, and you are still stuck on someone, on one person who's not into you. I don't think that's a good idea to tell your grandchildren such a story. I'm not being funny, but we need to look into ways to do things differently, to find ways to approach these situations where we actually fixate on people, set people free. They've got the right to go where they want to go, and you've got the right to look for someone else. I hope this has been helpful for you. And I'm hoping that you are going to be making changes, or you have been making changes in your love life. And being broken up with is not a big deal if the person doesn't want you, or if the person is not right for you. And you know the person is not right for you because they don't want to be with you, or they decided to break up with you, or ghost you, or they cheated on you, whatever they did, or how you feel about them and what you notice about them. So it's good enough to break up. And it's a sign, a signal from the universe to start anew, to find something that will benefit you. Quality life before and during relationships. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.